Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Wealth Boot Camp and the Black Business School. I wanted to talk for a second about politics and what I've been seeing in the media lately as it pertains to some of these political figures and all the antics that they engage in order to try to get your vote. I've been learning a lot by really studying the history of this whole liberal versus conservative fight that white people have been engaged in for a very long time. The liberals we've seen them as our friends because they were more in support of things like equal rights, civil rights legislation, things like that, and I respect that. I really do. I appreciate that. But one of the problems that I think that we have as a community is that we still have a hard time really grabbing onto our sovereignty as a people. Sovereignty in the sense of being able to really truly have some say in our own destiny. I think sometimes we feel like crickets who are standing in the middle of two elephants that are going at each other, or an elephant and a donkey, whatever, if you to use the political analogy. And I don't think that that's healthy for us. I don't think that that's where we want to be. Because what's happening is we're kind of like the hooker who has two pimps that are fighting over her, right? Either way, she's still going to be a prostitute. The pimp will still have control. And so when I see what's happening now, what I really see consistently are people trying to align the struggles of black people with the struggles of other groups. They are prioritizing, what's happening with other people over black people typically, except for Black Lives Matter. You got to give them credit for that. I guess if you assume that that's more of a democratic, liberal thing, you got to give them credit for that. Black Lives Matter. I've worked with them, at least in Kentucky I did, and I was really impressed with what I saw from that local chapter. So I think that there are some exceptions, but generally speaking, you don't really see black people and our needs and the struggles of our community really being made sort of a key priority in terms of what either political party is trying to do. Basically, you've got these two big groups that are just going at each other. They're constantly clashing, and the Democrats, pretty much for the most part, their standard argument. I want you to listen for this. Remember, my goal is not to tell you what to think; is to encourage you to think critically and to think for yourself. When you listen to the Democrats try to get your vote, I want you to count the number of times they reference how bad the Republicans are. I want you to really pay close attention to how many times they tell you that if Donald Trump or if some other Republican gets in office, it's going to make your life worse. So you really want to come out and vote for us. Um, Understand that telling you how bad the Republicans are is not the same as telling them how they're going to help your community and how they're going to truly make things better for you. And also remember that politicians lie. They make promises all the time that they don't keep. President Obama made a lot of promises that he didn't keep. Politicians just kind of lie for a living. That's just kind of what they do, and they don't have any remorse for it. Many of them are sociopaths, meaning that they're very narcissistic. They kind of understand that this is just the price of tuition. This is the price you pay to be in the game. You have to tell a lot of lies and disappoint a lot of people and make a lot of people upset. And so that's why you have, for example, in Chicago, you have a Democratic administration run by Rahm Emanuel, who was appointed or who was kind of propped up by President Obama, who pretty much covered up the murder of a black man for an entire year. All those people should be going to prison on a conspiracy charge. If that were you or me or anybody or Pookie down the street, we'd all be in prison. We'd probably get 50 years. Chances are they're going to wiggle their way out of it. And a lot of those people may even keep their jobs. Now, with that being said, my clear understanding is this. Now you can get caught up in the political theater if you want to. The whole Donald Trump is a racist or some Hillary Clinton is this. But I would say personally, I'm not going to really get caught up in that very much. I'm not really. When I look at Donald Trump, I see a guy that I don't. Yeah, I don't like him. I've never liked him, but I don't hate him. I mean, I see him for what he is. He's a smart guy who's made a lot of money, who's done a lot of great things, but he's also a guy who has some opinions that some people like, some people don't. And the opinions are definitely different, unconventional, right? Now, the one thing that I did see that his whole push to kind of keep certain people out of the country until they investigate terrorism or whatever. Actually, that's not unprecedented. Somebody actually mentioned to me that Jimmy Carter did something very similar with Iranians and Shiite Muslims and things like that. Now, again, I haven't researched that, but I did see that, and I kind of thought about that, and I said, that's interesting. But either way, I don't like a lot. Some of the policies Trump throws out there. They don't make a lot of sense to me. I don't think Trump will get elected. But what I do like is the idea of anybody really throwing salt in the game of the Democrats and the Republicans, who are basically a bunch of rich Harvard, Yale educated people that are seeking to control this country. If you look at the Supreme Court, look at how many people come on the Supreme Court come from Harvard and Yale. Those things don't happen by accident. It's because you have people that kind of create an illusion for you. They create an illusion for you to get you to fight each other over nonsense so they can keep the power at the end of the day. And so for black people, I think the question is, it's not a matter of getting upset about other people fighting to protect their power. The question is, where are you going to get in that game? Where are you going to get your power? How are you going to protect your power? Are you going to be a player, or are you going to be a pawn? You see, black people, for the most part, we have been pawns. We are educated by whites. We get all of our money from whites. We are controlled by whites in the prison system, in media, and every other venue in avenue in America. And we're under so much of a grip of control from other people that we don't even realize that we're being controlled. We are the puppet who really thinks he's a real boy, like Pinocchio. Pinocchio used to want to be a real boy, and he really thought he was a real boy, but he wasn't. He was a puppet. And many of us, unfortunately, were puppets. So when you hear people that are spitting out, standardized liberal rhetoric, like, oh, Donald Trump is this, or oh, Hillary Clinton is that, or whatever, a lot of that's because they've been trained to say these things. And not everybody's going to be a critical thinker. Some people are going to just follow the bandwagon. But I encourage you, if you have the capacity to think critically, try to do that. And if you can't do that, at least think about your community first. When I'm hearing a politician talk, I don't want to hear what is happening with gay rights right away, right now. Not that doesn't matter, but that's not really my top priority. I don't want to hear what's going on with immigration right now. Not that I don't want to hear it, but that's not my top priority. I don't want to hear what you're doing with the environment per se right now. Not that I don't care. Yeah, global warming is real. I want to stop it, but that's not my top priority. Doesn't mean I don't care. Just means I can't get to that until I get to the core of what matters to me. The core of what matters to me is, how are my black babies going to eat? How are black people going to build our businesses and create our own jobs? How are black people going to learn to educate our own children? How are black people going to keep our kids out of prisons? How are black people going to fight against politicians who seek to harm us, including the many Democrats who've incarcerated more black people than the Republicans have over the last 20 years? What are we going to do about that? That is where my mind tends to live, because I don't have time in this lifetime to solve all those problems and then move into solving these problems that white folks have been fighting over in the liberal and conservative establishments for the last 200-300 years. I don't have time for that. That's their fight. That's their thing. So their hatred of Donald Trump, I mean, yeah, I told you, I don't really like the guy that much. But I'm not going to spend more time hating on Donald Trump or hating Donald Trump than I spend defending and fighting for my own kids. So if you wanted to know the Boyce Watkins political platform, if you will, if you want to call it that, it is black people building our own businesses so we can create our own jobs, controlling our own money. It is black people establishing institutions so we can educate our own children and control their minds in a healthy way, not control them, not teach them not to think for themselves, but to make sure that they understand the importance of protecting community and family. You can't let other people occupy the minds of your kids. Those are a couple key areas that I kind of live, and that's kind of where I want to stay. I'm not really going to spend, so if you see me and you say you want to sit and talk for 2 hours about how crazy Donald Trump is and all that stuff, eventually I'm going to start thinking about something else, and it's mainly because I just really don't see how keeping Donald Trump out of office is going to make things better for the black community. I just really don't see that. And it's really funny. I got to go. I'm getting a call from Dr. Claude Anderson. I got to go ahead and answer this. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Dr. Anderson, how are you, sir?